Hi. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. It is, or Sunday if you are Eric. There he is. I was just typing and then I realized it was 7 o'clock and I might want to actually, do my live stream. But I was just about to type. Oh, Miss Hum's here. That means that Aftershock is not far behind. Um, Hello, everybody. Hello. Um, Let me catch up. Let's see. Of course, Eric is here. He was first, and everybody go like the video before Miss Hum or Mr. Dawson get you. So, hello to Mr. Eric and Handyman, and of course, three dogs. And who else is here? Mr. Owl. We are happy to have Mr. Owl here. He has been busy with his channel, but he is here. And Handyman, I think I said, and of course, Keyfitter and Ms. Hum and Aftershock and Mr. Clabette, wherever he might be. And there's Captain. Hello, Captain. Happy Friday to everybody. Did y'all have a good week? It was an interesting week. I tried to not, and Dirty Faces is here all the way from the other side of the ocean where it is. Is Johnny here? Oh, okay. Anyway, so Dirty Faces is here all the way from the other side of the ocean, where it is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning for him. So we are happy to have him. Johnny BB has a video of a hummingbird bathing, not Handyman, not not our hummingbird. No, no, he would not have a picture of Miss Hummingbird bathing. No. Um, Staying out of the heat has been my priority for the week. Yes. It has been horrifically hot and is going to, gonna continue to be. We've had a little bit of rain, but not a lot. I think just enough, if that makes sense. We usually get quite a bit more than we have been getting, but that's okay. At least we're getting some, which is better than some other years we've had. I have been picking up little bits and pieces of everything that's been going on, and then mostly debunking crap that I see as far as for my own edification and own knowledge, which I'll get into a little bit of that. But let's see. It is cooled down here, Three Dogs said. Well, Three Dogs, you live in some place that's cold. So I would hope it has. And Venerable Al said, got enough rain to refill the rain barrel. It was apparently there's been a lot of flooding in. Mr. Clabette is saying a lot of people up here without power from the storm the other day, trees down everywhere. I'm glad I made you laugh, Three Dogs. But apparently there was a big storm, and there's actually been quite a number of people who have perished because of that storm. And specifically, for some reason in my head, I remember Arkansas when I read the story. I don't know if it was other places as well that were affected. I'm sure it was, because storms don't typically just cover one state. It's not like Schleprock. So there's Mr. Dawson. Hello, Mr. Dawson. How are you tonight, sir? I'm glad you made it. Very glad. So been working on making creams and salves and on the book as much as I can, and videos, and getting in a gargantuan pissing contest with a troll. So Keyfitter would be proud of me. Three Dogs has witnessed it. Getting into a gargantuan pissing match, but it's just amazing how obtuse some people can be. Anyway, so happy Friday, happy weekend. Hopefully this weekend is much calmer than last weekend. Oh no, Miss Hummingbird, this is another. I think I don't, Miss Hummingbird. I think you have. That was another troll. I think, unless you saw The one about the dude who it's now like 16 comments of this thread. So Miss Hummingbird saw the one where the dude said that he mentioned on the woods to avoid burning, morning wood and another sexual connotation of wood. And I said, if either of those things is burning, you probably need to go see a doctor. And then he I ain't got no problem with those things burning. And then it went on and on and on from there. So anyway, and then he eventually told me that I was real purty. So yeah, so yeah, I know you do, Keyfitter. You love trolls. I have tried to tag you once or twice on a troll thread and you didn't respond. So anyway, yeah, I can make a salve for it. I can. I definitely can make a salve for that burning issue that you have going on. I'm not applying it. You can self apply, but I'm not. I'm wanting to help, but not that far. But anyway, no, this was another one about how um the people that where I said there's some preppers who aren't going to make it, and I never said anything about anybody being dumb or anything else. I just said a lot of people don't know how to do this shit. Oh, stuff. And he has accused me of all kinds of things. And Three Dogs has been right in the mix of it during it. So anyway, it puts the lotion in the basket. Eric said trolls are fun. They can be. They can be. It depends on the situation. It depends on how they get. Um, I mean, if they're really nasty and personally nasty to people, I'm not such a big fan of that. And then they get the big X. Remember, like, I forget what it was, but I hit the button and they get booted. That's what it was. All right. So, got a lot to talk about. Lot to talk about. I am not going to get into 60 million conspiracy theories with you about last Saturday's situation. I will talk about it. It's going to be towards the end of the live stream, and I do have some brand new, fresh, hot off the press actual information for you. I do not have a whole lot of those unconfirmed bits of information, but I do have some solid information. So, the Department of Justice has filed an appeal, speaking of, in the dismissal of the indictment against President Trump. The court will now have to decide if it will accept the appeal. And this is the one, I believe, in Florida. From what I read on the court case, this is the Florida one about the papers they found at Mar-a-Lago. Dude. Oh, I'm so glad you said that, Eric. Yes. Kind of funny you should say that because I was having that conversation with Miss Hum a couple of days ago. Is Martin here? Where is Martin? Eric, are you scrolling with oh, there he is. Hi, Martin. Hello, hello. Glad to see you. Um, I'm glad you made it. Anyway, so this is the case in Florida. So now the Department of Justice has filed an appeal because they have nothing else to do. Like I don't know, investigate a potential assassination attempt. I don't know. Call me crazy. So I don't know if you heard this or not. Lou Dobbs, the longtime Fox Business Network host, who was an outspoken ally of President Trump, has died at age 78. So just something sad for the day. Bob Newhart also passed away. He was an accountant, which is actually kind of fitting because y'all know that the Poplar guy also is an accountant, which is kind of fitting with the way he is. But anyway, but the Poplar guy isn't funny. Bob Newhart was funny. So he passed away at 94, and he became an overnight sensation when he did a live comedy album, and then he was on the CBS sitcoms. And yeah, I did too. I liked Bob Newhart. He had a very dry sense of humor, which is actually a very British type sense of humor. So I enjoy that. probably why I like Monty Python. Anyway, the Trump campaign has declined a invitation to have a, debate, vice presidential debate, until they know who the Democratic candidate will be, because now there's talk of, um, possibly Biden finally accepting the fact that he might need to step down. Yes, the killer rabbit, yes, and the shrubbery and the nights that say "knee" and all the rest of it, yes. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, yeah, they were classic, yes. Why is my phone going off? Oh, okay, alright. So the Trump campaign is not, and I was thinking when I was watching JD Vance speak, how interesting it would be, the way he was talking, and then when you hear, whatever her name is, talk, she likes to pronounce it different ways, different days. So, you know who I mean, Ms. Harris, the vice president. I was thinking what a juxtaposition it is between the two of them, and how awesome it would be to have a debate between the two of them. And apparently there was one originally scheduled on the 12th of August, but they have since rescinded that date and said, we'll wait until after the Democratic convention, and see who you decide to choose. Then we'll go for it. Well, thank you, Aftershock. Thank you. Um, and you know I love y'all. I very much look forward to this. So, I thought you'd all appreciate this too. First of all, how many people here are beer drinkers? Um, I don't think he will, Eric, but how many of you are beer drinkers? Like, you enjoy, whether you have one like every 5 months or you, imbibe more often, how many of you are beer drinkers here? And if you are beer drinkers, um, did you ever do the Bud Light deal where you nixed Bud Light, which is kind of, it got the point across for the Bud Light brand, but, it didn't really do much good because Mich Ultra and a whole bunch of other brands are also owned by the same company. They're just a different division. So it did get the point across, but a lot of people switched to Mich Ultra instead, and Mich Ultra is the same company. Whiskey here, infantry drinks Bud Light. Okay, so Miss Hummingbird likes beer. So when I do occasionally have a beer, it is not very often. I had a few at the rehearsal dinner and the wedding, because I was going to be driving home. So I drank some Mich Ultras because it's essentially water with a little bit of yellow in it. And so that's what I would normally gravitate towards. But Bud Light is still feeling the effects of the Dylan Mulvaney boycott. The beer never recovered its top spot. Keep in mind, they were by far number one prior to pulling that crap with, uh, I like a little tequila. I've stayed away from it for over a year, and I'm proud of myself for that. Um, so I agree with you, Keyfitter. I don't do whiskey. I do wine on occasion, but I don't do whiskey. But anyway, so yeah, Mr. Dawson said I do a shot about 3 to 6 times a year. That's it. I don't have time. Um, uh, so infantry captain likes German beers. However, he did mention Modelo, which is interesting. Eric has gone 17.6 years with no alcohol. Congratulations to you. I am trying to make up for your lack of drinking alcohol. I'm doing it, helping you. Um, Al said I usually drink 6 Miller Lights a week and have a couple swallows of Shine. There you go. Um, so now we know everybody's beer choices. Bud Light is now number 3. Remember, it dropped to number 2, and like I said, it was kicking everybody's butt across the country for years and years and years. Um, but what's interesting is, over a year after the boycott began, they're now slipped to number 3 behind Modelo Especial and Michelob Ultra, and Mich Ultra is the same brand. It's the same I mean, it's the same company. But yeah, so they are still feeling the effects. Wonder if that woman's ever gonna get a job anywhere, anytime ever in her lifetime again, the poor lady. Uh, but that was her choice to make that decision, and actually also just saw that, John Deere is following Tractor Supply Company, who decided they're going to back off of the whole DEI crap. Meta and Google also have um, reduced their DEI departments, and they have laid off a lot of DEI hires who were not actually qualified. It's a shame they didn't do that in, I don't know, our government like the Secret Service, but that's another story for later in the show. Um, so, since I don't shave anyway, I can't boycott Procter Gamble either. I don't shave either. I do actually. I shave my legs and my pits, but I don't shave other parts of my body. Um, yeah, Eric need to get in shape. Well, Eric's looking or handyman is, having to stay in shape for his fishing buddy. Um, what else are we saying? Yeah, Modelo is number one, Mr. Captain. You are absolutely right. It is. I'm not comfortable tonight. There we go. Okay. So here's an interesting beginning of oh, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Y'all are bad. Um Handyman has a fishing buddy. Stop it. Y'all are horrible. Okay. We will not discuss that subject at all. So, 12 million. Y'all are so bad. Uh, this is interesting. Now listen to this and stop talking about that. I know, Miss Hummingbird, I am, and I didn't even mean to be, but everyone immediately went there, amazingly enough. Shocking. It's probably why we all hang out with each other. Anyway, 12 million. Um, that is how many shares of Truth Social were shorted by a company called Austin Private Wealth LLC on the day before Trump was shot. What? Hello, Miss Octavia. Hello, honey. Bird is a very bad influence. She is. Miss Hummingbird is rubbing off on me apparently. Oh Lord, I shouldn't have even said that. But anyway, she is. So let me restate that and make it sound more understandable. Um, a company called Austin Private Wealth LLC, who I was not really able to find much on besides the fact that they are an investment company and they do have a registration in Texas, um, business registration for their LLC in Texas. Uh, the day before Trump was shot, they shorted 12 million shares of um, Truth Social, which is Donald Trump's social media platform. Now, why would they, out of the blue, all of a sudden they've had the stocks, and shorting it means that if you don't know, I didn't for a long time until maybe in my 40s. If you don't know, shorting means that they're betting that the stock is going to drop dramatically. They shorted it 12 million stocks, or it's 12 million shares of his stock the day before his assassination attempt. Little suspicious? Nah. No, 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 no. Guy was acting alone. What are you talking about? All right. On good news, I know Miss I saw. Um, I know she just said something else, but I don't see where it's at. Anyway, um, federal prosecutors begin dropping January 6th obstruction charges. Finally, finally, after Supreme Court ruling. So the Supreme Court ruled that for most of them, it wasn't obstruction, and it actually was part of uh, another case, but for most of them, it was not obstruction. So they're finally starting to drop the obstruction charges against some of the January 6th people who are still in incarceration with no actual trial, which is completely against our Constitution, but nobody seems to care. Uh, so, Venerable, I have not tried True Social either. I got enough to go on with without trying that. I mean, would I? Yeah, I guess eventually, but I just don't have time right now. I'm busy. Venerable said I actually don't do much on any social media. I post on Facebook. I post funny stuff on Facebook. That's about it. I do not comment because there's about 90% more trolls on Facebook than there is on my YouTube page. And I just don't feel like getting into it with all of them. So every time I go onto Facebook and read one of those comments, I get pissed and then I get into arguments with dumb people. And that's just not the choice. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said dumb people. I get in arguments with people who are educationally and intelligently challenged. And so I just stay away from it as far as that. I post on there, I make people laugh. That's what I want to do. And then I run away from it. It's just a good thing for me to do. And I can't just ignore Michael because they're just bless their hearts. That's the only thing I can say. Yes, Miss Octavia does. And then I check my own Facebook page once in a while. That's about it. Twitter, I post once in a while. These are all the business side of it. But I do Facebook the most because that's the one where I have the most followers. I've got almost 40,000 followers on Facebook. So, um, Instagram a little bit, not much. Um, there you go, Venerable. Yes, he likes to read FB posts to remind him why he avoids most people. I did, Mr. Dawson. I went on a rant the other day about all the people posting how, oh gosh, he should have, or it's a shame he missed, and ha ha ha, and all the other jokes. And this was like hours. Um, I am not on OnlyFans, Eric. I'm not. If I was, then they would see me either over here like a mad scientist creating creams and salves, or they would see me cooking or whatever. Um, so I'm not on OnlyFans, despite rumors to the contrary. Uh, so yeah, I know I said the one word and I should have said the one word, but that's okay. Um, Jesus. So, the federal appeal court blocks Biden's latest student loan vote buying scheme. uh, a federal appeals court on Thursday issued an order temporarily halting the Biden administration from implementing its new student loan repayment plan called SAVE. So, I know I can't hummingbird, and that was the one word. It was bad. Um, herbal creams, not any other kind. Uh, so I bet a big niche for shaving. I'm sure there would be. I am sure there would be. Yes. Um, I've never been on that site. I have no wish to be on that site. Um, 1/3 of Democrats believe that Trump staged his assassination. I swear to God, you cannot make this stuff up. This is why I don't go on Facebook and argue with people or look at the comments. 1/3 of Democrats believe that Trump staged his assassination attempt. Now, how foolish can you be? Um, cool, Venerable. Venerable got a new book a few days ago. It's the Civil Defense book by Michael Mabee. Maybe. Um, yes, Mr. Martin, it's yeah, not pretty. Um, so 1 in 3 registered Democrats believe it is credible that the shooting Saturday was staged and not intended to kill Trump, according to a Morning Consult poll. I don't care how good a shot you are. I don't care if you're like that American Sniper dude in the movie, um, with the guy with the blue eyes who also played in Hangover. I don't care if you're that good. I'm not gonna let you shoot at my head. No one is gonna let you shoot at their has that has any sense, and Donald Trump damn sure isn't, not because you might mess up his hair. So, the fact that they think this is just mind-blowing to me. This shows you how Kool-Aid drinking and in denial certain people are. Hey, Dean, welcome in. We are glad to have you. And then we have from On Scene Alert a couple of real quick ones. In the US, over 400,000 Life 360, if you're familiar with that. User phone numbers have been leaked via an unsecured API. I think that many companies have also had this happen to them and they're not admitting it because I damn sure get 50 calls a day. Um, Also in the US, and they're all spam, by the way. Also in the US, yacht giant Marine Max data breach impacts over 123,000 purchasers of their boats. And this happened in March, and they're just now letting us know in July. Isn't that nice? Oh, Bumbleclad. 1 in 3 of the Democrats surveyed show that they were as dumb as the other 2. Yes, yes, they did. I'm not digging this hair thing. There. Um, is Mikhail here? Hello, Mikhail. Hello, sir. Glad to see you. Um, any of y'all are members of the American Civil Defense Association. I will have an article in the October issue. That's great, Venerable. Congratulations. Um, So that's On Scene Alert. And that brings me to my reminder. Please don't forget to check out my links in the description. They will cover things like On Scene Alert if you're interested in learning more about them. I also have other companies, and I have my Amazon link, which is Three Dogs' favorite thing in the whole wide world. And Miss Hummingbird is also getting used to that button. Um, anyway, getting used to clicking that link. And so please, if you would, even if you're not wanting to purchase something prep related, but you definitely want to purchase something from Amazon, click that link. That way, Mr. Bezos knows that I've been a good girl and I've promoted his company because apparently he needs the money. So thank you, thank you. Mikhail, we're glad to have you. All right. So I'm going to get to something else in a minute that it's also been covered, but or not covered, but it's also a news story for the day. But first, Earth is poised for radio blackouts after sun releases powerful flares. Now, this is like yesterday, as NOAA warns 65% chance of disruptions. The sun has released more than a dozen powerful streams of energized particles towards Earth in the last 24 hours, sparking warnings of radio blackouts. However, most of us didn't hear about that, and it did not make much of the news. They issued an alert on Wednesday saying that there was a 65% chance that radios, aviation, communication, and sat ops could be disrupted throughout this week. Yes, Mr. Three Dogs. The agency reported blackouts over parts of the Pacific Ocean and other regions on Wednesday morning. So it was that quick that they started to see things happening. Even after this week's activity calms down, the sun will remain at solar maximum into 2025. Isn't that interesting, Keyfitter? Radio blackouts get worse during election season. Isn't that amazing? That means we'll likely have more sunspots that form, grow, and emit solar flares this year. Sorry. Over the past several days, scientists have been tracking radio blackouts around the globe triggered by this period of intense solar activity. So, yeah, I'm about to get into that one too in a second. So, a major tech outage. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. I appreciate that. I will always and forever remember 556 and equate it with you, um, along with the fact that Wednesday through Sunday is your weekend. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you. So, a major tech outage grounds flights, hits banks and businesses worldwide. A massive roll up some Mullen. Roll up some Mullen, Nikki. Do I need to? Yes, Mr. Dawson. Mr. Dawson said, I've been telling people about the cycles of the sun coming for many years, plus the cycles of the heavens above. It hasn't even gotten started. A massive tech outage swept the globe, knocking out operations for banks, media companies, and emergency services, and forcing airlines to ground flights, exposing the fragility and interdependence of global digital technology, which, of course, we all know about, and we all have been watching videos about this for years and years and years, which is part of the reason why we prep. But for these people, it's a shock. A single update from CrowdStrike, which is a major provider of cybersecurity software to a large array of companies, caused outages for millions of users of Microsoft Windows worldwide. Major airlines, including Delta, United, and American Airlines, halted departures overnight. Windows computers and tablets crashed in countries from the US to China and Australia. You would think China would have their own crap. Anyway, with reports of forced device restart spreading across social media. Many affected machines were unable to restart, instead showing a blue error screen, which is also known as the blue screen of death. The outage touched almost every industry, and the article had Starbucks as the picture because that's just so important. Multiple financial institutions, government entities, and corps reported tech issues. Some hospitals, actually quite a few hospitals, at least in this area, and school districts said computers were down. Financial markets were largely operating as normal, and many companies said systems were starting to be restored. So, it could be, who knows? It could possibly be Mr. Gates. Who knows? We don't know. It is quite possible as well, Mr. Dawson, especially as they're trying to draw attention away from the incidents of July 13th with Donald Trump. It very well could be that this was a test run. They might have pushed it forward some. That is also a possibility. They could have thought, oh crap, maybe we need to, draw attention away and do something to get everybody to look over here so we can take care of this. Yeah, Hummingbird. I didn't really have much here either. I mean, computer was fine for once. She said that she found it interesting. Her son was sharing info about shutdowns up in the Northeast, and can't say that it was even noticeable here. I will say that I had a lot of people on Facebook personal page posting about the hospitals. The local hospitals were having issues. The sweet and sour sniffles. That is cute. I like that. Keep it or I may be stealing that. I'm just letting you know now. I ha-ha'd at first because I have manners, but I may be stealing that. The sweet and sour sniffles and this have one thing in common: wargaming. And there's an election coming. There you go. So, oh, good pun, Captain. Eerie. Yes. All right. So I'm going to go back to this one. There it is. All right. So this is the bare bones stuff. This is not rumor. This is not Um, this is as much as I possibly could. Oh, thank you, Captain. I'm not real thrilled with what it's doing right now, so that's why I keep scrolling with it. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Um, anyway, so I'm trying to keep this as factual as possible. There have been a ton of conspiracy theories and other things online, and I'm trying to stay away from it. Like, for instance, one of them was that the sniper was that actually took care of the shooter was actually fired the following day because he was supposed to stand down. And that is so far, I'm unable to confirm that. And I've been searching for it for 4 days now. So this is a wine spritzer. It is this much wine, and then this is all seltzer. And it's just enough for me to enjoy it without me getting loopy. I do wear high heels. Or I own high heels. I used to wear high heels every single day. I don't anymore. But yes, I did used to wear. And yes, it sometimes has been vodka in the past, but not here. I mean before. Um, I do have a little Lily Munster Widow's Peak. I've always had a Widow's Peak um, from my mother. I had to think about it for a second. Which one gave it to me? It was my mom. All right. So the Secret Service knew it wasn't up to the task of protecting Trump. Shocking. We all knew this already. The Secret Service issues continue. Whistleblowers are telling Congress that the agency was stretched too thin after Biden's NATO summit to adequately protect Donald Trump on July 13th. Um, at a July 8th meeting with the FBI, Special Agent in Charge Tim Burke revealed the agency had little resources to protect Trump. For those keeping track, that was 5 days before Mr. Crooks climbed onto the rooftop. So let's recap. Donald Trump is speaking at a large rally in the open while intel has emerged of a possible threat to his life from Iran. Iran actually threatened his life to begin with. And the Secret Service knew this. So they knew that there was the possibility of an attempt at some point. Think about that for a minute. They knew somebody somewhere was going to try to get him. With days again to spare before the event, the Secret Service admits it's shorthanded and apparently does nothing meaningful. The whistleblower statements have come out and said we asked for more help and we were denied. And that again is a statement from a whistleblower. Whether or not that is factual or not, I guess we'll find out in possibly in coming weeks. But that was something that was stated by at least one of the whistleblowers that came forward from the Secret Service. One of the things I didn't like was that there was an attempt to blame local um, law enforcement over this, and this was not a local law enforcement job, and it was not a local law enforcement F up. This was a government law enforcement F up, and quite possibly, sadly, might have been done for numerous reasons that may come out in the future. We'll see. Um, exactly. Eric said, sure, send billions to East Europe and not enough money for more SS protection. Um, I know, Captain, I every time somebody writes SS, I just inside I cringe a little bit, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just that in the back of my mind, I think of, World War II. I'm just one of those things that I equate it with. I do not know why. Vodka is Miss Hummingbird's friend. This is good to know. She's got good friends, apparently. Um, so At the event itself, Crooks was ID'd as suspicious to the Secret Service more than an hour before he shoots Trump. And once more, they did nothing. I mean, they knew this guy was around. They knew what he was doing, everything before. And I've got a major bit of information on this story that you guys are going to be like, what the hell? Um, what's good? I don't like vodka, gin, or rum. It kinda feels like that, Keyfitter. Hey, Iron Horse, welcome. We are so glad to see you. Glad you made it out to us from the cabin. Um, Keyfitter drinks alone. Uh, that's alright. The producer doesn't drink, and father-in-law doesn't drink, so and I don't go out, so what am I gonna do? I drink while working with all of you, and talking to all of you. We cannot talk about alcohol, handyman. I'm not sure why that subject is taboo when so many others have been talked about, but yes, we cannot talk about alcohol. Alright, so, another warning about this dude came 10 minutes before Trump took the stage, but they didn't ask Trump to wait while they investigated it. Um, "Alright, Al, have a great afternoon or great evening for you. Take care." Martin hasn't contributed in a while. I hope he's still here and we haven't freaked him out and he's run away. Um, and the follow-up obviously is equally whacked. Um, Agency director Kim Cheadle blaming a sloped roof, hence my joke yesterday, um, for the security failure rather than her own incompetence, and she has refused to resign smugly. Also, there is a rumor, I wrote this um, somewhere, but anyway, there is a rumor, not a rumor, it was on the news, but again, couldn't confirm it myself. Hello, Mr. Martin, I'm glad you're still here. Uh, that she has been called to Congress to, there it is. It has been reported that Mayorkas told the director of the Secret Service, this Cheadle chick, not to testify before the House, even though she's been subpoenaed to come forward for this investigation, that the DHS will use their own AG to investigate because, nothing can go wrong with that. Nothing can go in that, I was stuck changing front bearing and it was a pain in my ass. Yeah, that's not a good place for that bearing to be, Mr. Iron Horse. Just call me crazy. And Eric backs me up. Um, no, they couldn't negotiate anything. Uh, but there's some interesting stuff that I have been able to learn and find and research online. Um, so this Donald, this attempted assassin purportedly wrote a chilling online message that hinted at his plans. Um, he wrote, "July 13th will be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds." He wrote this on Steam, which is a popular online platform where gamers communicate. Um, so don't know about that. Uh, I wrote that somewhere. Keyfitter. No, I wrote somebody's one of the conversations I've had this week. I wrote that she's only qualified to uh, maybe they put her in charge because she was so used to guarding orange Cheetos that they figured she could guard a man who was orange like a Cheeto, which Trump is, or a man who has the brain cells and brain capacity of a Cheeto, which would be our esteemed leader of this country. Eric, I 100% agree with you, and I feel as a woman, um, which I am, and I identify as one too. Um, but I feel like it was not the women's fault, okay? The women that were horrifically unprepared for this, it was not their fault. They were hired as DEI hires, and they were I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen what it looks like to now qualify to potentially get employed by the Secret Service. Redacted had a great story on this, so I'm not going to go into it a whole lot. But they had a great story about like 20 minutes to run run 1.5 miles, and you can walk it. And Natalie Morris said, if you're walking, the criminal's not going to be walking. So why do you have to be able, or why are you allowed to walk? It's just it's like, elementary school, qualifications to get that president's badge that you used to have. It is not hard at all. I could do it right now, and I'm not in nearly the physical shape that I was even 10 years ago. So, um, they were not qualified, they were not trained, and it's not their fault and it's not their responsibility to be qualified and to be trained. Somebody up higher in the line decided to take these unqualified, untrained women and put them in this position. So I'm not going to hold them responsible. Should they have been protecting this man, especially knowing that there was a threat? No. Is it their fault they were assigned to protect this man? No. It's somebody along the line, and that somebody is refusing to, go to Congress or resign or do anything else. Uh, so, um, nothing worse than a weak man with power. Yes, it was Elon Musk that did that, and then I paraphrased him by saying that she was guarding a man who looked like a Cheeto and a man who has the brain capacity of a Cheeto. So infantry captain said, yes, exactly, 3 dogs. It was embarrassing how that woman, I mean, that woman made every woman who owns a gun look horrific, attempting to put her gun back in its holster. It was just awful. So, remember the old saying about anything a man can do, a woman can do better in heels? Well, you know what? Sometimes that is true. Sometimes it's not. If those women had been properly trained, it's quite possible. But they weren't. You could obviously see that. The one looked like Barney Fife. I mean, she was just not sure what she was going to do with the thing. Um, anyway, obviously, there are many questions. There are many obvious situations in this whole um, miasma of BS that need to come out. There are a lot of rumors circulating. There are a lot of unsubstantiated statements being blasted out on the media, and those things are not confirmed. Um, like I said, I haven't been able to confirm that this was posted all over social media 2 days ago, that the Secret Service sniper who did take out the shooter was fired, because he came forward, he said, and was told to stand down and not take him out. Never found any collaboration for that, or corroboration, either one. So that is not anything that is a truth at this point. An audiology expert, however, I watched this last night and thought it was really super interesting. An audiology expert has shown what he believes to be 2, possibly 3 separate types of gunshots at the rally from different guns at different places. And if you look at an aerial, yeah, if you look at an aerial view of where, and I've done this too, and I studied it, and I had my little ruler out and was looking at the angles of everything. And if you look at an aerial view of where Crooks was at on that oh so sloped roof, and where the bystanders that were hit, they were not in his line to hit Trump. Trump was standing in front of them, and he was approximately um, 15, 20 feet in front of them. There's also video footage of right before, I mean, and I'm talking about 20 seconds prior to the first gunshots being heard. Um, that here were Secret Service ducking while they asked people to move. Why would a Secret Service agent be ducking like that? There's no reason for it. He was just walking over to a couple that were in front of a barrier that they were supposed to be behind, and he asked them to move, but he was, like, walking ducking the whole entire time. So, these are all things that, of course, bring up questions. So, I sat and did my little aerial angle stuff, and, Keyfitter brings up a great point because we did not know anything about this when it happened. And the only reason we found out was because my stepson called and let the producer know that it had happened. We were at the cabin all day, and we have, as I've told you before, virtually no um, uh, access to the outside world. I have a radio, but on a Saturday afternoon, chances are, and it is on talk radio usually of some sort, but Saturday afternoon is generally speaking going to be a very recorded time of day. Um, so, and they were playing repeats of something from during the week. I had to go on while we were driving home. I had to go on NPR to get any news of all stations. NPR was covering this live. And I have to say, I was pretty proud of the dude that was doing the coverage because he tried to keep it. I think he knew he had a lot of captive audience there, and he tried to keep it as straight and narrow as possible without wandering off into NPR land like all the rest of them like to do. Oh, thank you, 3 dogs. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. I always appreciate y'all's support. Thank you. Yes, the kid was in a commercial for, that company, uh, in his high school, years, and that commercial has obviously been pulled. There's also reports that he has, uh, somehow managed to have, offshore accounts. Not sure how that happened, but he has offshore accounts, that are encrypted, so nobody can know what's in them. Um, but the interesting thing was the audiology expert showing once he explained what you were hearing, the difference in the sounds between the different guns and the echoes and everything else. So going back to my story about NPR, we were um we were driving home listening to NPR, and this was as it happened. Um, so it was maybe, thank you, 3 dogs. Thank you. And yes, please don't forget to use my Amazon account whenever you need to purchase anything. Click on the link in my descriptions of every single video, and you can also click it on my main page. It is the number one link on my main channel page. Anyway, why is someone saying hi, Grizz again? Is he here? Or is someone fooling me? Okay, you're fooling me, 3 dogs. Alright, so anyway, so, um, here we are driving home and we're listening, and almost every single, person that they interviewed, including the reporter who was giving she was there at the scene and she was giving her own account of what had happened. Almost everyone, um there was one person who didn't, of the 20 people who, uh, did not or were there that gave their testimony of what they thought happened. Almost every single one stated that they believed that the, gunshots came from, um, to the left and behind the stands near the water tower, that's where they believed the sounds came from. And if you look again at the aerial map of the whole situation, the water tower makes sense for the fact that the people in the stands got hit. The dude or somebody where the dude is at in that same building, because there were people down in the building at the time, that makes sense for the shot that came at Trump. But the people that were in the stands that were shot does not make sense from him. It makes sense from somewhere near that water tower, area, which is further back. So, uh, like I said, there's a lot of questions. Yes, your better half does know about my Amazon account, Aftershock. She sure does. Um, but this would also explain the other bullets and the sounds that people described, because they also said, these witnesses, and I had no choice but to listen to it because I was driving home, and it's, almost it's an hour and a half, almost 2 hour, well, hour and a half. Um, I'm hearing this story about, uh, every single one of them saying, "We heard a couple, and then we heard another set." No, that should have been, like, a couple or 3 and then 1 when the sniper security service the, um, security service sniper took out the guy. That should have been all you heard. But they said they heard one bunch and then another bunch. And yes, we all know about the fact that that people that were at the rally were trying to get the attention of the police to tell them that this dude was on the roof. We've now all heard that a police person came up the roof and witnessed the dude, and the dude turned with his gun, and the police person dropped to the ground about 8 feet and has injured his ankle. So those are all factual. Yes, the man who got killed, Corey, he was a retired fire chief and he was shielding his family. Yes, he definitely was. And he was sitting on, if you're facing Trump and Trump is facing you, he was sitting on your right-hand side, in the stage behind Trump. And then the other blood that was found on the left hand, uh, set of bleachers behind Trump, but both of them kind of higher, or yeah, kind of high up. So, and it is disgusting that anybody was killed, and if this is some type of cover up of something that somebody attempted to do, then I think that there's a whole lot of things that need to happen to those people. Jail would be the least of the things that I'd want to do to those people. They killed innocent Americans, but then again, there are a lot of people who don't think that innocent Americans are all that important anyway. So, um, obviously, there are lots of theories, there are lots of suppositions, and there are lots of questions, and we're never going to get to all of them. And you can sit on YouTube and watch for hours all of the different conspiracy theories that are being talked about right now. And like I said, some of them, there's Grizz. Hello, Mr. Grizz. You are finally here. I am glad to see you, sir. Um, but anyway, I think that the important thing, like I said, I've debunked a couple of them, or at least cannot prove that they're true. And if there's anything else major, I will do the same thing. I will go through and dig through all of my little holes that I get into and see if the thing is true. But there's a lot of stuff that isn't true that has been said. So um, keep that in mind. I don't do news for my info or YouTube. Mr. Dawson, I agree. As you know, and all of you know, I go researching online for everything I want to truly know if it's true or not, and also for my videos. And I've had to prove more than once that what I've said in my videos is legit. And so I damn sure make sure that I have something to back me up. Um, so that's where most of my information comes from. But I may hear something and then I may go check it out, and see for myself if that's real or not. And that's any type of news that I hear. Um, I told you about the Mayorkas telling the director of the Secret Service not to testify before the House, that she doesn't have to because they're going to run their own investigation. Um, got me. Uh, check it out, Wendy. I don't know what that reference is, Captain. Times of India, Hindustan Times, and WION are pretty reliable, and they're funny too. And I kind of like Sky News just because they're so funny. They laugh about our political people all the time. Oh, The Shining. Okay. She just died too. Shelley Duvall. She just died. Exactly. Kefeter Fox is guarding the hen house. We haven't heard the true story. I know that for a fact. We have not heard the true story. They're screwed. Six Ways to Sunday if Trump does get elected, because he will not stop and he will put somebody in charge of this who will not stop. And this may turn into another grassy knoll situation, as somebody has referenced on here, because we may never know, and we still don't have all of the information from the grassy knoll situation that we should have had, what, 2010 at the latest, because that would be 50 years. But presidents have decided and deemed that they're going to keep that information private for longer, which they can do. And they've been doing that ever since. Every single administration has been pushing the JFK Jr. or JFK information back and not allowing it to be exposed. Um, Eric, you sound like a 70s hippie. He said, "Is anything really real? Why are we here? What is our purpose? Are we alone in this universe?" I don't think we're alone in the universe. Yes, Ruth, is it Westheimer? No, Ruth somethingheimer. Is it Westheimer? Dr. Ruth. Bless her heart. I used to listen to her and laugh. My mother thought she was hilarious. Okay, so it also came out, and this is literally right before I came on and said hello to Eric because he was in the room. Um, there was a drone. A lot of people have asked, why wasn't there a drone flying over, checking things, all that stuff? Well, there was one. There was a drone sent over all of the buildings and checking out the entire territory that day. It was the shooters. It was Mr. Crooks's drone. He sent a drone over the entire rally area, perimeter and around the area, several hours prior to the actual rally occurring. Um, so he was checking everything out. No drones that we've heard of from anybody in our government or any Secret Service or anybody like that. So found that interesting. And that literally just came out. Wall Street Journal, I think it was, just broke that right before I came on. Because, see, I even had to write it in by, hold on. See, I had to write it in by hand right there. So sometimes I feel like a sea monkey, which were basically just little shrimp of some sort. And I had that. I had the sea monkeys. Hey, Kenneth. Hello. We are glad to have you here. There are some good Wi-Files episodes. Yes, y'all need to. If you have not yet, I love this man. You will love this man. He's hilarious. Hecklefish is amazing. And you will have so many things that you've wondered about or heard about. Um, he doesn't just come out and tell you, like, no, this is the way it is. He gives you the facts, and then he gives you what's been debunked and what hasn't. He's awesome. It's one of the only shows I make sure I always watch, is my Wi-Files. And I'm not a huge fan of TV. Yes, the Wi-Files. And his name is AJ, and he has a fish named Hecklefish. And Hecklefish has a girlfriend her name is Gertie, and she is a camel. Grizz says, nothing is real, Eric. It's all a created illusion. It very well could be. We could all be sitting in chairs right now, like those brothers from the, what was it called? The Philadelphia Project, and transporting our minds somewhere. Never know. And I'm not sure you were aware, and I have this frog in my throat thing. Yeah, Truman Show. That was actually filmed near me, most of that, and a lot of local people got to be extras in that movie. Anyway, Tucker Carlson spoke at the RNC, and I know y'all get tired of me talking about Tucker, but I like Tucker. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Tucker was a Democrat up until 2020. He changed party affiliations in 2020, but he had been a Democrat, registered for all of his adult life. So I found that interesting. 3 dogs, thank you very much, for coming, and I'm glad to see you tonight as always and glad for your support. And, Miss Hummingbird is grateful for her chosen group of chairs. Yes, I am as well, because it introduced me to all of you. Yes, Hulk Hogan spoke. That was hilarious. Martin wants to know where we get our stuff. It seems to be stronger than his. He did, Mikhail. He did apply to the CIA, and they turned him down, interestingly enough. It was uh, Putin that brought that up in the interview, which kinda it looked like it startled Tucker a little bit. Tucker was surprised that Putin knew that about him. Okay, so a man named literally anybody else, that's his name, literally anybody else, is running for president. A Texas man, Texas, legally changed his name to literally anybody else to apply for a particularly difficult to get job. He wants to be president of the US. The 35-year-old military veteran and middle school math teacher, formerly known as Destin Eby, said he's running for president to protest the current major party candidates. And I've heard a lot of that too. A lot of people are like, look, I'm tired of having um, only a two-party system and having to choose what horrible candidates. Good night, Iron Horse. Have a great night. I know it's getting dark for you. Um, so he is running on a write-in campaign in Texas, and they call him Else in the article because that would be his last name. Literally anybody else, where he did not get the required 113,000 signatures to make it onto the ballot. And he's expected to appear by name on the Tennessee ballot, where he said he did get the required amount of signatures. That's hilarious. So if you don't want to vote for either candidate, then if you write in literally anybody else, this man will get the vote. Thought that was funny. And then in the wild and crazy section of these nuts, there you go, of our world, a super rare orange lobster accidentally has been delivered or was delivered to a Colorado Red Lobster. An orange lobster that's 1 in 30 million is saved by restaurant staff. A rare lobster is now safe at an aquarium after being delivered in Colorado. The restaurant staff recognized that this shellfish stood out from the bunch. They're typically very dark brown and with maybe a few small spots. So having one that was bright orange that none of us have ever seen was definitely a bit of a shock. And apparently, this was the general manager, and apparently, a lot of the customers asked about the bright orange lobster in a Colorado, Denver Broncos are orange. So they didn't nicknamed it Crush. They called the local aquarium and had it come get it. It's not the first one to end up at a Red Lobster. Uh, a Florida Red Lobster location in 2022 saved an orange lobster and sent it to Ripley's Aquarium in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The lobster was named Cheddar after the restaurant's biscuits. So it makes you wonder how many rare, strange, unusual, last of a species have been eaten at Red Lobster without any of us knowing. Hmm. Never know. Well, this is yes, they can all aftershock. They can also be blue, and they can also be another color. I forget what the other color is, but the two that they found at Red Lobster were um, orange. Now we have a small soft shell crab here that is blue down in Florida. So there you go. Yes, sweet gum bark tincture is good for cough. Actually, there's several things that are. Um, blue oyster. Yeah. Did I say blue oyster? I said blue crab, didn't I? I hope I said blue crab. Infantry captain. Oh no, not save him. Yeah, well, they did save him because he's 1 in 30 million. So, um, thank you, Miss Hummingbird. Thank you, thank you. And thank you, Aftershock. Aftershock said, I watch this channel called Herbal Health Homestead, and she recommends mullein for a cough. Yes, yes, she does. Yes, and you can actually smoke it. to get rid of a frog in your throat kind of deal. And then Miss Hummingbird said that channel knows what they're talking about at Hermal Health Homestead. She does. She's very, very smart. She doesn't have time to do great videos, but she does videos and the information's good. She's just a little got a lot of pots burning on the fire right now. An endangered species culinary group, that would be so horrible. It's probably already happening. I mean, let's face it, Uncle Klaus and, little Billy and the rest of them are probably all hanging out, uh, cooking up rare sea creatures and laughing while they do it. So, Randy of the Redwoods? What the hell, Martin? Randy of the Redwoods. I don't know what that means. Anyway, so that is it for the evening. I hope you all have a great night. And I will see you again next Friday. I've decided just to not try doing Mondays until I know for sure that this Xfinity thing is done. So, and plus, y'all have the summer, so you're doing all kinds of other stuff. So, Hummingbird said she's brilliant and has amazing hair. Oh, thank you, Hummingbird. Another great live stream, Nikki. Thank you for taking that. You are welcome, Evergreen. Well, hello, Evergreen, as you sat in the background the entire time. Glad to see you. Everyone have an amazing good night. Actually, Mikhail, I've been thinking about Bone Set, and I'm probably going to do a video on Bone Set on that channel in the next couple of days. So thank you all so much for watching, and I appreciate it, and I will talk with you this weekend. Thanks.